Ever wonder how those laws you hear about, actually come to be? Well, today on the Deep Dive, we're tackling that very question. How a bill becomes law in the U.S.
It's a lot more interesting than you might think.
Yeah, I was surprised reading through the source material, How Laws Passed, by Bill Shepler. It's kind of like a political thriller.
It is. There's power struggles, compromises, these nail-biting votes, all this stuff going on behind the scenes.
And it's a system that's designed, at least in theory, for the average person to get involved.
Exactly. So let's break it down, shall we? First things first, where do the ideas for these laws even come from?
Right, because you'd think it's all politicians in smoky back rooms, but...
Actually, it could be anyone. The president, sure, with some grand vision, lobbyists pushing their agenda.
Or hey, maybe even you listening right now.
Absolutely. People solve problems in their communities all the time. And those solutions, they can spark legislation.
So, you fix a dangerous intersection in your town, that could become a model for a state law, maybe even federal.
Exactly. But here's the catch. Only an official senator or representative can actually introduce a bill to Congress.
So picking the right sponsor, that's got to be key.
Huge local issue. You want your district rep on board. But something nationwide, like climate change, you need a heavy hitter, a powerful committee head to champion that cause.
Okay, so ideas solid, sponsors locked in, now what? How does a bill even get into Congress?
Well, in the House of Representatives, get this, they have a literal wooden box. It's called the hopper, and bills are just dropped in there.
You're kidding. Like a suggestion box, but for laws.
Kinda. The Senate's a bit more formal, might involve a speech, but even then, other senators can object right away, delay things before the bill gets a chance.
Talk about a dramatic entrance, but hold on. Thousands of bills get introduced every year, right? How do they even handle all that?
That's where committees come in. These are groups within Congress, each specializing in an area. Healthcare, education, environment, you name it.
So it's like dividing and conquering the workload. But I bet that's where things get really interesting, eh?
Oh, for sure. Committees are the nitty-gritty. They hold hearings, they call experts to testify, debate the pros and cons of each bill.
It's like a mini trial for every piece of legislation. Are these hearings public, by the way? Could I go watch?
Absolutely. That's one of the best ways citizens can get involved. Attend, testify, contact your reps, even organize petitions. Make your voice heard.
So it's not just politicians in a bubble. We, the people, can actually participate.
Exactly. That's what makes this system so powerful, at least in theory.
Okay, so after all that testimony debate, the committee got to make some decisions, right?
Right, and that's where markup comes in. Think of it like editing a document, but every word change is a potential battleground.
Ooh, I bet. Trying to balance different views, priorities.
The committee chairperson, they have a lot of power here. Setting the agenda, calling hearings, even killing a bill by ignoring it.
Wow, the fate of a law in one person's hands. That's intense.
It is, which is why understanding these committee dynamics and making your voice heard during this phase is so crucial.
Okay, so our bill, it survived the committee gauntlet. What happens next?
Well, if it started in the House, it's time for House floor action. But that's a story for the next part of our deep dive. Welcome back to the deep dive. We left off with our little bill, braving the House committees. It's been through a lot.
Yeah, like a trial by fire, right?
Yeah.
But now it's got to face the whole House of Representatives. That's a whole other beast.
Think about it. 435 representatives all fighting for what they think is best. Lawmaking becomes a performance at that point.
Our source material, How a Law is Passed, it really stresses the Speaker of the House's role in all this.
Oh, absolutely. It's like they're conducting an orchestra, keeping the debate flowing, setting the agenda.
I can only imagine the political maneuvering going on there.
You better believe it. Different calendars for different types of bills. The Speaker can prioritize some, push others aside.
So it's not just about a bill being good, it's about timing and strategy.
Exactly. A smart Speaker can use those rules to help bills they like, or slow down the ones they don't.
Sounds like a high-stakes chess game, honestly.
It is. And then there's the committee of the whole, where the entire House acts like one giant committee for certain bills.
So everyone gets a say.
In theory, yeah. More input, but also more potential for things to get heated.
Okay, so let's say our bill makes it through the House, all in one piece. Where does it go next?
The Senate, often called the upper chamber of Congress.
Because it's literally on a higher floor in the Capitol building.
I wish. It's more about them being seen as more thoughtful, less reactive than the House, the voice of reason, weighing things carefully.
So if the House is a machine gun, the Senate's more like a sniper rifle.
I like that. The Senate's smaller, too, only 100 members, so they can actually have real discussions. And each senator has a lot of power.
How a law is passed points out those senators have longer terms, too, right? And they represent whole states, not just districts.
Exactly. They're less worried about local pressure, thinking bigger picture. It can lead to more cooperation, working across party lines.
But the Senate has its own quirks, right? Like the infamous filibuster.
Oh, yeah, that. That's where one senator can basically just talk forever to delay a vote.
Wait, really? Just talk and hold everything up?
Happens all the time. It's a test of endurance, for sure. Some say it protects minority rights. Others say it just causes gridlock. Controversial, to say the least.
Definitely adds another layer of complexity to things. But even if a bill makes it past the House and the Senate, the journey's not over, is it?
Nope, one final boss to face. The President of the United States.
Of course, the ultimate decider. But first, what if the House and Senate pass different versions of the bill? That's going to cause some headaches.
Big time. Happens a lot, actually, and that's when they form a conference committee.
Sounds like some serious peace talks.
Kind of. Representatives from both sides trying to find a compromise that everyone can live with.
Must be tough. Pleasing everyone while still keeping the original intent of the bill, right?
Takes real skill, diplomacy, and sometimes a good dose of luck.
Okay, so our bill, it's miraculously survived the House, the Senate, maybe even a conference committee showdown. It's at the president's desk. What are their options now?
They can sign it, make it law, big ceremony, the whole 9 yards, or veto it, send it back to Congress with a big old list of complaints.
Which could start the whole process over again.
Pretty much. Or they can do nothing.
Nothing. How's that an option?
So the president has 10 days to make a decision. If they don't sign or veto and Congress is still in session, it becomes law automatically.
So it's like silent approval.
You got it. But there's this thing called a pocket veto. If Congress adjourns during those 10 days and the bill's unsigned, poof, it's gone.
Just vanishes. No drama, no explanation.
Yep. Shows how crucial timing and political gamesmanship can be.
Man, so many ways for a bill to die on this journey. It's a miracle anything becomes law at all.
Right. But that's why staying involved matters, making your voice heard every step of the way. It's this intricate dance of power, compromise, and, yeah, sometimes just plain luck.
This has been an eye-opener. Can't wait to see what other surprises this legislative journey holds. Back again for the deep dive. We've been through the ringer on this bill becoming a law thing, from the first idea to the president's desk. It's a wild ride.
It is, isn't it? Lots of moving parts, lots of chances for things to go sideways. But sometimes persistence pays off. And we're not quite done exploring yet, are we?
Nope, still more to uncover.
Yeah.
We've talked about the big players, House, Senate, President. But there are these little details that can really make or break a bill.
Absolutely, like unanimous consent, for instance. Sounds simple enough, but in Congress, time is precious, so it can really shake things up.
So how does it work exactly? In practice, I mean.
Picture this. Senate floor, everyone's busy trying to get things done. One senator wants to speed things up, maybe skip reading a long amendment. They ask for unanimous consent. If nobody objects, boom, it's done.
Ah, so it's a way to cut through the red tape. But what if even one person says no?
Back to square one. Debates, votes, delays, the whole shebang. Unanimous consent, it relies on everyone playing nice, which, well, you know how Congress can be.
Yeah, not exactly known for their kumbaya moments, but it's a good reminder that even small procedural stuff can have a big impact.
Totally. And speaking of impact, remember the pocket veto we talked about? The president's kind of sneaky power move?
Oh, yeah, the one where they just ignore a bill and it dies.
Pretty much. They avoid a public fight, maybe a Congress override. Smart move sometimes. Congress adjourns during those 10 days, and boom, bill's gone.
Like a disappearing act. Supporters must be left scratching their heads.
It happens. Timing and political strategy, my friend, it's all part of the game.
We've learned so much on this deep dive, it's amazing. From those hallowed halls of Congress to the president's desk and all the twists and turns in between. But before we wrap up, gotta circle back to citizen involvement. We touched on that earlier.
It's the cornerstone of a working democracy. And our source, How a Law is Passed, it really drives that point home. Every voice matters.
So beyond voting, what can listeners do? Give us some practical tips.
Call your representatives. Go to town hall meetings. Read up on the issues. Become an expert yourself. Write letters to the editor. Get your community talking.
Donate to a cause you believe in. Start a petition.
Exactly. Find your voice and use it. Don't underestimate what one passionate person can do. You could be the spark for the next big change.
I love that. Well, this deep dive has been quite a journey. It makes you appreciate the complexity of it all.
It is complex. Checks and balances, competing interests, constant compromise, but it's designed to reflect the will of the people, even if it gets messy sometimes.
Messy, but ours. And always evolving, right?
That's the beauty of it, and that's where you come in. Stay informed, stay engaged, never forget the power you have.
Couldn't have said it better myself. If this deep dive has you wanting more, definitely check out How a Law is Passed by Bill Shepler. Links in the show notes.
And if you enjoyed our little exploration of American democracy, make sure to subscribe to the Deep Dive for more fascinating discussions. We'll be tackling all sorts of topics.
That's right. Thanks for joining us on this journey. Until next time, stay curious, stay engaged, and keep on diving deep.